First contact. Captain Jenna Alvarez stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, watching the unfamiliar star system come into view on the main display. She and her crew had been exploring this remote sector for weeks, searching for signs of intelligent life. Little did they know, they were about to get more than they bargained for. "Captain, we're picking up multiple contacts on long-range sensors," Lieutenant Commander Mikhail Petrov reported from the tactical station. "Unknown configuration, but they're big." Alvarez raised an eyebrow. "All right, let's see who's out there. Hail them." A few tense moments passed before the view screen flickered to life, revealing a stern-faced alien with gray skin and piercing violet eyes. He wore an elaborate uniform adorned with medals and sat in an ornate chair that could only be described as a throne. "Unknown vessels, this is Admiral Zorgax of the Zorian Galactic Empire," the alien announced imperiously. "You have entered our sovereign territory. Identify yourselves and prepare to surrender immediately." Alvarez exchanged amused glances with her first officer, Commander Liam O'Connell. "Well, hello there," she said casually. "I'm Captain Jenna Alvarez of the United Earth ship Intrepid. We're on a peaceful mission of exploration. Apologies for any intrusion. We weren't aware this system was inhabited." Zorgax's eyes narrowed. "Your ignorance is no excuse, human. The Zorian Empire spans 1,000 worlds. All who enter our space must submit to our rule. Surrender now or face the consequences." O'Connell stifled a laugh. "Is this guy for real?" he whispered to Alvarez. The captain smirked and addressed the Zorian admiral. "Yeah, I'm afraid we're going to have to decline. We don't really do the whole surrendering thing. But hey, it's been great chatting with you." Zorgax looked utterly flabbergasted, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Clearly, he was not used to such a flippant response. "You dare defy the Zorian Empire?" he sputtered. "You will regret this insolence." With that, the view screen went blank. Alvarez leaned back in her chair, an amused expression on her face. "Well, that was interesting. Looks like we got some new friends out here." Petrov looked concerned. "Captain, their ships are taking up attack positions. Sensors show they're powering up weapons." "Oh boy, here we go," O'Connell muttered. Alvarez waved a hand dismissively. "Relax, their tech can't be that impressive if they're this full of themselves. Raise shields and keep an eye on them. But don't do anything provocative. Let's see what they're made of." As the crew prepared for potential conflict, Alvarez couldn't help but grin. Exploring the galaxy was turning out to be even more exciting than she'd hoped. Whatever the Zorian Empire had in store, she had a feeling humanity would face it the same way they faced everything, with unwavering confidence and a healthy dose of irreverence. Underestimation. Admiral Zorgax paced furiously on the bridge of his flagship, the Zia's Imperator, his face contorted with rage. The sheer audacity of these humans, these primitives, was unbelievable. No one had ever dared to defy the Zorian Empire so brazenly. "They mock us," he seethed, his fists clenched tightly behind his back. "They have no idea of our power, our might. We will teach them the price of their impudence." His second-in-command, Commander Zylov, shifted uneasily. "Admiral, perhaps we should be cautious. We know nothing about these humans or their capabilities." Zorgax whirled on him, eyes blazing. "Nonsense. Look at their ships, so small and insignificant compared to ours. They are nothing. We will crush them swiftly and make an example of them to any other upstarts who might consider challenging us." He turned to his tactical officer. "Target their flagship and fire a warning shot across their bow. Let them taste a fraction of our power." The officer complied, and a bright lance of energy erupted from the Imperator's main cannon, streaking past the human ship and dissipating into the void. Zorgax waited expectantly for a reaction. Terror, pleas for mercy, a hasty surrender. But the response he got was not at all what he expected. Was that supposed to impress us?" Captain Alvarez's voice came over the comm. sounding more amused than anything else. I mean, it was a nice light show and all, but if that's your idea of a warning shot, I'd hate to see what you consider an actual attack. Laughter could be heard in the background of the human bridge, much to Zorgax's shock and fury. They were laughing at the Zorian Empire. It was unthinkable. "You insolent creatures," Zorgax roared. "You will learn respect. All weapons, fire at will. Destroy them." A barrage of missiles and energy beams launched from the Zorian fleet, hurtling towards the human ships. Explosions blossomed in the void as the weapons found their mark. But as the glare faded, Zorgax's jaw dropped in disbelief. The human vessels were completely undamaged, protected by shimmering energy shields that had effortlessly absorbed the assault. On the Intrepid's bridge, Alvarez yawned theatrically. "Is that all you've got? I've seen more dangerous fireworks displays." O'Connell chuckled. "Maybe we should offer to help upgrade their weapons. Seems like they could use a hand." Zorgax was absolutely beside himself with rage and confusion. How could this be possible? The Zorian fleet had conquered countless worlds, crushed innumerable foes. Yet these humans shrugged off their attacks like they were nothing. As the human ships continued on their course, seemingly unfazed by the attack, Zorgax struggled to process this turn of events. It was becoming increasingly clear that he had drastically underestimated these strange, infuriatingly casual creatures. But the Zorian Empire would not be so easily deterred. One way or another, he vowed, the humans would be made to bend the knee, or they would be destroyed utterly. There could be no other outcome. Technological mismatch. In the aftermath of the failed attack, Admiral Zorgax found himself in an unfamiliar position, one of uncertainty and even a hint of fear. The humans' technology was clearly far superior to anything the Zorian Empire had encountered before. Their casual dismissal of the Empire's might was deeply unsettling. "Bring me the top scientists and engineers in the fleet," Zorgax ordered, his voice tight with controlled anger. "I want a full analysis of the humans' capabilities. We must find a way to neutralize their advantages." The Zorian researchers worked frantically, poring over sensor data and scanner readings from the brief engagement. What they found only deepened their concerns. "Admiral, the humans' energy shields are unlike anything we've ever seen," one scientist reported nervously. "They appear to operate on principles we don't fully understand. Our weapons simply can't penetrate them." Another engineer chimed in. "And their propulsion systems, they're incredibly advanced. They can outmaneuver and outrun our ships with ease." Zorgax's face darkened with each revelation. The humans were not just technologically superior. They were decades, perhaps centuries ahead of the Zorian Empire. It was a bitter pill to swallow for a civilization that had always prided itself on its military might and scientific prowess. Meanwhile, the humans seemed to be having the time of their lives. They made no attempt to conceal their conversations, which the Zorians monitored with growing frustration. "Did you see the look on that admiral's face?" O'Connell laughed over the comm. "I thought his head was going to explode." Alvarez chuckled. "I almost feel bad for them. It's like watching a kid try to fight a Navy SEAL." The bridge crew erupted into laughter again, their voices echoing over the Zorian comm channels. Zorgax ground his teeth, his pride stinging with each casual jibe and dismissive remark. "Sir, what are your orders?" Commander Zoloff asked hesitantly. "If their technology is truly so far beyond ours, we do not surrender," Zorgax snapped, cutting him off. "The Zorian Empire has never been defeated, and it will not start now. There must be a way to overcome their advantages, a weakness we can exploit." But even as he said the words, doubt gnawed at him. The humans seemed utterly unconcerned by the Empire's presence, treating the whole situation like some grand joke. Their technology was not just advanced, but almost inconceivably so. As the Zorian fleet hung in space, temporarily thwarted and increasingly demoralized, Zorgax struggled to formulate a new plan. He could not, accept defeat at the hands of these upstarts. The Zorian Empire had stood for 1,000 years, and he would not be the one to see it humbled. And yet, as he watched the human ships glide effortlessly through the void, an unshakable sense of unease crept over him. For the first time in his career, Admiral Zorgax found himself facing an enemy he wasn't entirely sure how to fight. The battle had only just begun, but already the balance of power had shifted in a way he never could have imagined. The future of the Zorian Empire and his own legacy hung in the balance, and the infernal humans just wouldn't stop laughing. Diplomatic farce. Desperate to regain some semblance of control, Admiral Zorgax resorted to a tactic he had rarely needed to employ before: diplomacy. If the humans could not be cowed by force, perhaps they could be reasoned with, made to see the error of their ways. It was a long shot, but he was running out of options. He sent a message to the human ship, requesting a formal meeting to discuss terms of surrender. Much to his surprise, Captain Alvarez agreed readily. "Sure, we can talk," she said breezily. "I'm always happy to chat with new folks. Just give us a time and place." Zorgax gritted his teeth at her casual tone, but managed a curt nod. "Very well. We will send a delegation to your ship in 1 standard hour. Prepare to receive our envoy." An hour later, a Zorian shuttle docked with the Intrepid, and a party of high-ranking officials, led by the Empire's most skilled diplomat, Ambassador Zorlan, strode onto the human ship with great ceremony. They were met by Captain Alvarez and her senior staff, who looked more amused than impressed by the display. "Welcome aboard the Intrepid," Alvarez said with a grin. "I'm Captain Jenna Alvarez. This is my first officer, Commander Liam O'Connell, and my chief engineer, Lieutenant Commander Mikhail Petrov. What can we do for you?" Zorlan drew himself up to his full height, his ornate robes shimmering in the light. "Greetings, Captain Alvarez. I am Ambassador Zorlan of the Zorian Empire. I have come to discuss the terms of your surrender and integration into our glorious civilization." O'Connell coughed, poorly disguising a laugh. Petrov raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. Alvarez, to her credit, managed to keep a straight face. "Surrender? Integration?" she asked innocently. "I'm sorry. I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're not interested in joining your empire." Zorlan looked taken aback. "You misunderstand, Captain. This is not a request. The Zorian Empire has claimed this space, and all within it must submit to our rule. It is a great honor we offer you, a chance to be part of something far greater than yourselves." At this, O'Connell could no longer contain himself. He burst out laughing, doubling over and clutching his stomach. Petrov joined in, chuckling and shaking his head. Even Alvarez had to bite her lip to keep from grinning. "I'm sorry," she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "But we're not really the submitting type. We're more into exploration, cooperation, that sort of thing. But hey, if you're looking for an alliance, we're always happy to make new friends." Zorlan's face flushed a deep shade of purple. "Alliance? With primitives like you? The Zorian Empire does not make friends, Captain. We conquer, we rule. You will submit, or you will be destroyed." Alvarez sighed, her amusement fading into something like pity. "Ambassador, with all due respect, I think you're overestimating your position here. Your weapons can't touch us. Your ships can't catch us. What exactly do you think you're going to do to us?" The Zorian delegation shifted uncomfortably, Zorlan's bluster faltering in the face of Alvarez's calm logic. Perhaps we have been hasty," Zorlan stammered, his earlier bravado evaporating. "An alliance, you say? The Zorian Empire may be open to such an arrangement." O'Connell snorted. "Funny how quickly they change their tune when they realize they're outmatched, isn't it?" Alvarez shot him a warning look, then turned back to Zorlan with a diplomatic smile. "An alliance could be mutually beneficial. We're always eager to learn about new cultures and technologies. Why don't we sit down and talk about what that might look like?" As the two groups moved to the conference room, Alvarez couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of the situation. Here they were, a small human exploratory force, casually negotiating with an empire that had expected to conquer them without a fight. It was a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the human spirit. And she had to admit, more than a little bit hilarious. But as she sat down across from the chastened Zorian delegation, Alvarez knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was a vast and wondrous place, filled with challenges and opportunities in equal measure. And humanity, with its irreverent humor and indomitable will, was ready to face whatever it had in store. Power dynamics shift. The informal alliance talks quickly broke down as Zorgax, incensed by reports of the humans' flippant attitude, ordered an all-out attack on the Intrepid and its fleet. Alvarez and her crew had been prepared for this possibility but had hoped to avoid it. Now, as the Zorian fleet bore down on them with all weapons blazing, they had no choice but to defend themselves. Raise shields, ready point defense systems, Alvarez ordered calmly as the bridge rocked from a nearby explosion. Let's show them what we're made of. The human ships moved with a grace and precision that belied their easygoing nature. They wove through the Zorian assault like dancers, their shields absorbing the brunt of the enemy fire, while their own weapons picked off the attacking ships one by one. On the bridge of the Imperator, Zorgax watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. The humans' technology was not just superior, but overwhelmingly so. Their ships were faster, their weapons more precise, their defenses impenetrable. It was like watching children with sticks trying to fight off a pack of wolves. "Admiral, we're losing ships left and right," Commander Zoloth cried, his voice edged with panic. "We can't keep this up." Zorgax slammed his fist down on the console, his face a mask of rage and despair. "Keep fighting," he bellowed. "We cannot let these upstarts defeat us. The Zorian Empire will prevail." But even as he said the words, he knew it was a lost cause. The humans were simply too powerful, their technological advantage too vast. As ship after ship fell to the humans' relentless onslaught, Zorgax felt a sinking sense of inevitability settle over him. On the Intrepid, Alvarez watched the Zorian fleet crumble with a mix of satisfaction and regret. She took no pleasure in the destruction, but she knew that the Zorians had brought this upon themselves with their arrogance and aggression. "Captain, the Zorian flagship is hailing us," Petrov reported, a note of surprise in his voice. "They're requesting a ceasefire." Alvarez raised an eyebrow. Well, looks like they've finally come to their senses." On screen, the battered visage of Admiral Zorgax appeared on the view screen, his once proud bearing replaced by a look of utter defeat. "Captain Alvarez," he said, his voice heavy with resignation. I request a cessation of hostilities. It is clear that we are outmatched. The Zorian Empire surrenders." Alvarez leaned forward, her expression serious. "Admiral Zorgax, I appreciate your willingness to end this conflict, but I want to make one thing clear. The human race is not interested in conquering or subjugating anyone. We're explorers, not emperors." Zorgax looked confused. But you have defeated us utterly. Is it not your right to claim our territory, our resources?" Alvarez shook her head. "That's not how we operate. We're willing to form an alliance, to share knowledge and technology. But it will be as equals, not as conquerors and subjects. Is that understood?" The Zorian admiral looked as though he was struggling to wrap his head around this concept, but he nodded slowly. I understand. The Zorian Empire accepts your terms." As the communication ended, Alvarez sat back in her chair, a thoughtful expression on her face. The power dynamics of this region of space had just shifted dramatically, and she knew that the repercussions would be felt for years to come. But for now, at least, there was a chance for peace, and maybe, just maybe, for a new understanding between two very different civilizations. O'Connell broke the silence with a chuckle. "Well, that was fun. Can we go find someone else to not fight now?" Alvarez rolled her eyes, but she couldn't suppress a smile. Set a course for the next system, Commander. Let's see what other trouble we can get into. As the Intrepid and its fleet leaped into warp, leaving the humbled Zorians behind, Alvarez felt a surge of pride and excitement. The galaxy was vast and filled with wonders, and humanity was ready to meet it head-on, with courage, compassion, and a healthy dose of irreverent humor. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by the unbreakable bonds of human spirit. New Galactic Order. In the weeks following the confrontation with the Zorian Empire, word of humanity's technological prowess and unconventional approach to diplomacy spread like wildfire through the galaxy. Some civilizations reacted with fear and suspicion, immediately mobilizing their own fleets in anticipation of an all-out human invasion. Others, however, saw opportunity, the chance to ally themselves with this powerful new player on the galactic stage. Captain Alvarez and her crew found themselves inundated with messages and requests for meetings from various alien governments, each seeking to curry favor with the humans. It was a strange turn of events for a group of explorers who had set out simply to learn about the universe around them. Who would have thought we'd become the galaxy's most sought-after dinner guests? O'Connell joked as they prepared for yet another diplomatic summit. Alvarez shook her head, a wry smile on her lips. Seems like defeating a massive empire in battle is a good way to make friends. Who knew? But even as they navigated the complex web of galactic politics, the humans remained true to their core principles. They sought cooperation, not conquest, always striving to find common ground with their new allies while respecting their unique cultures and traditions. To the surprise of many, the Zorian Empire became one of humanity's staunchest supporters in this new era of galactic cooperation. Humbled by their defeat and inspired by the humans' compassionate approach, Zorgax and his people threw themselves into the alliance with a fervor that shocked even their former adversaries. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I'd be working side by side with a Zorian engineer, Lieutenant Commander Petrov remarked as he and his counterpart from the Empire collaborated on a new shielding system. But I have to admit, they know their stuff. This spirit of collaboration and mutual respect became the hallmark of the new galactic order, with humanity at its center. The human fleets, once seen as a curiosity or a potential threat, were now welcomed as guardians of peace and stability, their advanced technology freely shared with all who wished to learn. As the Intrepid continued its mission of exploration, Captain Alvarez couldn't help but marvel at how far they had come. What had begun as a simple journey of discovery had turned into something so much greater, a chance to shape the future of the entire galaxy. You know, when I signed up for this mission, I thought I'd be charting nebula and cataloging alien flora, she remarked to O'Connell one quiet evening in her ready room. I never imagined we'd end up as galactic peacemakers. O'Connell grinned, raising his glass in a toast. Well, that's just part of being human, isn't it? We never know quite what we're getting into, but we always seem to come out on top. Alvarez clinked her glass against his, a matching smile on her face. I'll drink to that. As the Intrepid sailed on through the stars, its crew looked to the future with a sense of hope and wonder. The galaxy was still a vast and mysterious place, filled with dangers and challenges yet unseen. But with their wits, their courage, and their unshakable human spirit, they knew they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. The age of humanity had dawned, and the universe would never be the same. Less than / and artifact greater than. Let me know if you would like me to refine or elaborate on any part of the story. I aim to capture the key elements you requested: a new cast of characters, an engaging and uplifting tone, a focus on human ingenuity and resilience, and a satisfying, cohesive narrative arc over the 6 parts. I hope this humanity F****** tale meets your expectations for your YouTube channel. I'm happy to discuss ways to adapt or improve it further.